We can't do it without instructors, and we pay pretty decent, and it's a lot of fun. You get a free Copper Sky membership. We can't do these programs without instructors, so I hope anybody seeing this that has 3 or 4 hours open in their morning or early afternoon could come by and learn how to be an instructor.
Knowing that what I'm doing is ultimately going to help them in the long run, there's no better feeling like it.
A feeling of satisfaction for instructors and a sense of security for families like the Prestons, who found in Mia's story a new conviction for these life-saving skills.
CPR certification and swim safety with lessons is like, that's all we could advocate. We'll use her platform and her story to sell that for the rest of our lives.
Swimming.
In case you pull something.
Hold up!
Go.
Hey Maricopa, it's me, Sergeant Hal Kuzer. I'm here with my friends here at the police department. We've got a brand new tool that's going to help our officers out on the street keep everybody safe. It's called a bolo wrap.
We're implementing Bolo Wrap for the first time at MPD. It's a new technology that doesn't use pain compliance to work. It prevents us from using taser, baton, pepper spray, which are pain compliance tools, and we're excited to be using it. It wraps around a person, takes a Kevlar cable with hooks on the end, kind of like Spider-Man, wraps a person up so they can't take a step, they can't move their arms, allows us to go in safely, take them into custody without hurting the suspect, without hurting the officer. Prevents us from having to take a person down to the ground, get into a scuffle. The thing with a Bolo Wrap that makes it unique is that it's completely different in shape and in size. It's not something that we're going to get mixed up. We know when we're holding on to this, we know it's not our gun, we know it's not our taser. We don't think officers are going to get this mixed up with a firearm or a taser. We update the training for the officers and for the instructors on a yearly basis. The officers today at MPD are going through operator training. They're doing practical scenarios, they do a written test, they do malfunction drills, they learn how to safely operate the unit and when they cannot use it. We wrap each other so we know how to deploy, we know what it feels like, we know how to deploy when a person is standing still, when they're walking. So we think that the officers are well trained and well equipped to go out and use this with confidence to safely take care of our public.
And that's a wrap.
This is our faith, and we will overcome. No, we don't play. Whoa, whoa. So walk with the grace. You got to pay the price. No time to waste. Whoa, we will overcome.
Hey, I'm Nathan Oliet, Community Services Director for the City of Maricopa, and I'm here today at the first ever in the state of Arizona fitness court that was really brought to you in part, largely in part, by Global Water through one of their sponsorships. And we're just here today to talk about what an incredible thing it was that Global Water decided to do 3 years ago.
It's through sponsorships, especially with Global Water and their significant contribution, that we're able to really expand on the entertainment side of things and also on activities that are available. We've expanded from 3 signature events to 5. We added the Copa Glow, which is the hot air balloon festival. And also, we have an event that is coming up in just a few weeks, our multicultural event. And for example, we are able, based upon the generosity of Global Water and their sponsorship, we're able to bring in some entertainment acts. We've got Polynesian dancers lined up. We're working on some Congo and steel drum performances. So it's those types of things that those extra dollars help to not only expand the events, but bring more events and bring entertainment to those events.
We are the first city to have a recreational esports program. We won the 2020 Arizona Parks and Recs Association Award for Best Sports Program. Global Water's contribution gives us the funds to start this program, which we have over 400 unique players that have enrolled in the program so far. It also allowed us to switch to an online platform once the pandemic hit. So we were able, about 120 people signed up online, and they were able to participate in our online programming, and it was awesome. If there was a timing to prove the value of this program and the versatility, it was then. The pandemic hits, the coaches already were like, let's just switch it online. Within the next weekend, everybody else was locking down. We had 22 people in our tournament. It's a way for kids that are good at video games to be competitive at something they're good at, to meet friends with the same interest. I mean, I didn't meet any friends that played video games, but now you can, and you can build those lasting relationships thanks to a program like this.
Rec in the Greenbelt is a Parks and Recreation trailer on wheels. Has an esports component, but also has a bunch of different Parks and Recreation games, up from Connect 4 to Frisbee toss. We have golf. We just have a bunch of different things offered in that. I do believe Rec in the Greenbelt did a great job connecting the community. We not only provided it here, but we connected with Maricopa Unified School District and our charters by providing this trailer at their schools and interacting with their students as well. Ever since we started the program about 2 years ago, I would have to say we had about 1,000 plus participants participate. Global Water was a huge contribution to UT and enrichment programs, and they helped us out a lot.
Maricopa's Safe in the Swim program provided free swim lessons for 197 kids. And what was cool about this program, as we tracked the progress, we realized about 90% of them did not know how to swim, and the time they were done, they were safer in the water. They can float, they can do some swimming, they could jump in the water, self-rescue themselves, get out of the water. This allowed opportunity for kids that not normally would be able to get to the pool to do swim lessons and things like that.
So today we're at Pecana Park, but we're actually standing here at the fitness court today, which is a national fitness campaign where they try to implement outdoor fitness courts in different areas to bring fitness closer to communities. I mean, fitness really shut down during the pandemic. For us to be able to continue to provide fitness activities to the community was huge. We definitely could not have done the fitness court without Global Water. It obviously gets really hot here in the summer, and Global Water, they directly contributed to the shade structure here of the fitness court. Now it's utilized 365 days a year. Also, the lovely decals that we have all around the fitness court as well was a direct contribution from Global Water. We could not have done any of that without them.
On our wall here, we have different sizes of stars that represent different amounts of donations, and Global Water is our largest star, our largest donor. Your contribution to the library here has allowed me to continue to do what I love to do, and it also helps us to enhance our programs by expanding the opportunities for more people to participate, having more staff involved in these programs or volunteers. And this allows us to reach more of our community. It makes you feel good when you hear this pleasant buzz in the library. It just makes me feel good to know that we do have people that are utilizing and gaining some type of skill or furthering their reading. Thank you, Global Water, for all that you've done to help support the library and our community, and we look forward to future opportunities with you.
Thank you guys, Global Water. We could not have done this fitness court without you. The city of Maricopa thanks you, and the community definitely thanks you as well.
Thank you, Global Water. We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you, Global Water. We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you, Global Water. We couldn't have done it without you.
None of this would have been possible. None of these programs would have been possible without the support of Global Water and without their vision to want to do something in our community. So I'm super grateful. I know all of the participants that have been impacted by these programs and events are grateful for that opportunity, even if they don't even know Global Water's role in it. So thank you, Global Water, and we look forward to continued partnership with our community.
This is my friend. I love painting. That's my favorite medium. I gravitate towards them. I love paintings. I don't care what type it is. I like to look at them
The Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in the city of Maricopa, Arizona. It's Monday, April 10th, 2023, 6 o'clock. Have a call to order. We're going to have the invocation being given by Commissioner Rochelle LaFalle and the Pledge of Allegiance by Bill Robertson. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for bringing us together on this evening, Lord, and we ask, God, that you watch over the items that will be discussed today, Lord. Let us be able to deliberate, Lord, with ease, Lord, and having you in mind, God. I pray, Lord, that you will continue to bless our city, Lord, and help those who are making efforts, Lord, to make the city a better place. We ask all these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Rochelle.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Juarez?
Here.
Commissioner Singleton?
Here.
Vice Chair Robertson?
Here.
Chair Yocum?
Here.
Commissioner Irving? Commissioner LaFalle?
Here.
Commissioner Hughes?
Here.
Chair Yocum, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to have the call to the public. If you wish to speak, please complete a speaker card and submit it to the chairman prior to the start of the meeting. The procedures to follow if you address the commission are: Commission requests that you express your ideas in 5 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks or derogatory comments about the city, about any city employee, a fellow citizen, or anyone else, whether in the audience or not. The chairman will limit discussion whenever he deems such an action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. Does anybody want to submit a speaker's card? I have no speaker's cards. Does anyone want to come to the podium on any issue they'd like to discuss with this commission? Sir? Would you state your name and address, please?
My name is Bruce Neely. We own the property to the City Hall to the north. And I think what I'm concerned about is the park issue. That it is in the floodplain. I think the city may not have graded at risk because it's pushing all the water onto our farm. And because you used to have an outlet that used to go on the north side, which I call, I guess, what comes from the south and goes to the north and to the east. And then it used to outlet in front of White and Parker there along the wash. My concern is that I guess there was a last year that Lincoln was submitting to buying property, and they're going to build on that outlet. So one of the things that I'm concerned about, if the water is actually going to go into our farm, if it does flood, the floodwaters. And that's what I just want to address.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else want to come to the podium? If not, I'm going to close the call to the public. Minutes.
Chairman Yocum, just real quick with the call to the public, just as a service announcement, so to speak, we originally had a conditional use permit that was scheduled to be heard at this meeting this evening. Conditional use permit 2301 has been withdrawn by the applicant. If you are here for that tonight, although it was advertised, it is not on the agenda, and the application is no longer valid with the city. So,
okay, thank you for the announcement. Appreciate it. The minutes, do I have a motion to approve our minutes?
I have one question.
Yes.
Okay, I had a question on On page 3, when we talk about roll call, and this is just for my education, it's talking about the motion carried with a 3-3 vote, and then it says motion fails. Is that a contradiction, or is that protocol the way we identify a vote when it's called?
Chairman Yocum, Commissioner, I didn't quite catch all of that. I didn't quite hear it.
On page 3, where we discuss the roll call for the well, it was a motion, and the recording of the motion, it says the motion carried by a 3-3 vote, and then in the next sentence is the motion fails. And then once again, this is for my education. Yeah, Commissioner Juarez, I think that it was taken in the minutes because it was verbally stated by that the motion carried, which it didn't, and so it was corrected during the meeting, and in the minutes it recognizes that it did not carry. It failed because it was a tie vote. Okay, yeah, because when I read it, I saw it as a contradiction, and I want to know if that gets corrected in the record. Or... So so the minutes are an accurate reflection of what happened. It was stated during the meeting that it carried, but it did not. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the minutes? If not, do I have a motion?
I have a motion to carry the approval of the minutes.
Okay, Commissioner Juarez made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Singleton, a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Regular agenda, item 5.1, DRP 22-33. A request by Alan Bedoyan and Rachel Smith of Norris Design on behalf of property owner Swan Ridge LLC and developer DBG Properties LLC for review and approval of site, landscape, photometric, and elevation plans for the proposed multifamily residential development on approximately 20.17 acres. Pinell County parcel number 510-25-009S. The site is generally located east of the southeast corner of Maricopa Casa Grande Highway and John Wayne Parkway in the city of Maricopa, and this is for discussion and action.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Derek Shearer, planner with the Planning Department, here to present the next item, 5.1 on the agenda. This is an application for a development review permit, case number DRP 22-33 for the Overland Waterman Butterfield project. The applicants, as was stated, are Rachel Smith and Alan Bedoyan of Norris Design. The location is southeast of the southeast corner of State Route 347 and Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. The subject location is highlighted in yellow on the vicinity map that you see in front of you. The site is approximately 20 acres, and the proposal is to develop it with 574-unit multifamily residential development. The multifamily residential development will consist of 3 parts. One is a workforce housing portion, another is a senior restricted portion, and another is a market rate portion. If the Commission can recall, just a couple months ago, a planned area development application came through and was approved by this Commission and then also the Council to rezone the site to allow for this multifamily development. The site zoning is planned area development. The apartments at Honeycutt Planned Area Development is the actual name. The application meets the intent of the PAD. At that time, when the PAD was acted upon, there was also an application for a minor general plan amendment to amend the site from being employment under the general plan's future land use map to high-density residential. The proposal meets that, and no amendment is required. This is just for the site plan review, landscape, photometric, and elevation review and approval by this Commission. For the site plan, the access to the site is from 347 to the west of the site via extension of Honeycutt Avenue. Honeycutt Avenue dips off of 347 a little bit currently. That will be extended by the city to the actual property line of the site that you see here. There's going to be 8 multifamily residential buildings. 4 are going to be dedicated for workforce. There'll be 200 units in that building, in those buildings. 3 will be dedicated for market rate. There'll be 174 units in those, and 1 for seniors, which is the bottom right-hand side of the site plan there, and that will be another 200 units. The extension of Honeycutt Avenue will see a Main Street concept entrance that'll bisect the site. It's going to be rather decoratively planted. I have string Edison lamps going across the street. Limited parking on the street there, giving a Main Street sort of feel to it. This was one of the main components of this development to make it attractive. Amenities will include clubhouses for each development type. There'll be if I can point out, I know you can't see, but right here for the audience, that will be a clubhouse for the Overland apartments here, a clubhouse here for the Butterfield, and then there's a clubhouse inside the Waterman building, the senior building, and the clubhouse there is only for those residents. So each clubhouse will be dedicated for the residents. All other open space amenities, such as the community open spaces, the dog park, sport court, tot lot, the pollinator gardens, those will be open and free for everybody's access. For the landscape, the applicant under the PAD was required to provide 30% of open space area. Under a normal PAD, it's in the zoning ordinance regulated to 20%. The applicant is actually providing about 35%. It's 34.7 when you round up, but rounding up for easy, 35% open space. Of that, 12% will be programmed with the amenities, and I've highlighted the coloring of the text here to match where all of the general open space is compared to the programmed amenity open space that you can see in this sort of purplish color. The site is going to be planted with over 400 trees and 1,100 plus bushes. Landscaping is provided throughout the project area, and again, providing 5% over the PAD required 30% open space for the entirety of the site. Here we have the elevations, perspective elevations of the Overland Apartments. Going back, the Overland Apartments, if I can, excuse me with this. So the Overland Apartments are these market rate apartments up here. Butterfield are on the south, and the Waterman is the senior as we're going towards the elevations. Here are the Overland Apartments. As you can see, they're well designed. They have a lot of articulation. They've got a lot of push and pull along their facades and also along their parapet roofs. We have on the floor plans indicated balconies for all the upper units and patio areas down here. The buildings that are going to front on Main Street will have the open patios going to the sidewalks along that Main Street to create that pedestrian scale environment. Here's a perspective of the Butterfield Apartments. Although the buildings are somewhat similar, the applicant has chosen to use contrasting colors to differentiate the different apartment types in the different buildings. So there'll be specific color schemes for the building types. Here we have the elevations for the Waterman Senior Apartments. The Waterman Senior Apartments, going back to the site plan, has a porte cochere and a little roundabout, so protected access going in and out for drop-offs, along with ADA parking all in front, catering towards those older individuals that would live there that may need those facilities more than others. I have some perspectives of the clubhouse buildings. This is the Overland Clubhouse building. The color pattern matches the pattern that'll be for the actual residential buildings, and the same with the Butterfield Clubhouse as well. Again, the clubhouse for the Waterman is enclosed within the building, so we don't have an elevation for that because it's part of that building. The site, on the southern boundary of the site, in the site plan, we have 4 rent garages. Some of these garages will be tied to the apartments. Some will be open for rent by members of who are living there. And they follow the same architectural style, coloring patterns of the other buildings on the site. So altogether, we have this cohesive development, but we have this differentiation between the different types. So any guests, visitors coming there, they'll be able to differentiate rather quickly where they need to go throughout the site, because it's a large site, it's 20 acres. The development review permit has gone through the city's internal development review. It's gone to internal development review meetings, external technical advisory committee. Engineering has looked at all of the plans, the traffic analysis, water, wastewater, floodways. Building has looked at it. Fire department has looked at it for public safety concerns. If you can recall, in the PAD, there is a secondary emergency access at the northwest of the site that will continue along the railroad tracks and then underneath the 347 overpass and then out over on the west side of 347. Planning has looked at this for the land use compatibility and the zoning. Everything matches up to the planned area development regulations. So it conforms with the high density residential future land use map designation. It meets the requirements of the planned area development as amended, and the proposal meets the requirements of section 18 of the zoning ordinance. A neighborhood notification letters were sent out on February 21st for this meeting, and a sign was posted on the corner of 347 and that Honeycutt extension on the 21st as well. It wasn't posted in the site because there is such a far distance between. The city allowed them to put it right in the right of way, so the public would notify that there was this project coming in that now currently vacant land behind it. Staff recommends the Planning Commission approve Overland Waterman Butterfield Major Development Review Permit, case number DRP 22-33, subject to the conditions of approval stated in the staff report and or as amended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have. And the applicant development team and consultant team is here to answer any questions you may have as well. Thank you.
Does anyone have any question, concern they'd like?
I do. Once again, thank you for your presentation. Very informing. I just had a couple of questions here regarding the access points to the project. The question I have is, what is the definition of the all-weather access for the secondary entrance?
All-weather access means that it is a semi-built road that is permanently there, being that it can hold the weight of 70,000-pound emergency vehicles, fire service vehicles. It is not to be accessed all the time. It's only the emergency access road. So from here, elsewhere in the city, when you see some developments that have the decomposed compacted granite roads exiting from a cul-de-sac or something, those are your all-weather access roads that can be accessed in a time of emergency by all emergency services that the city has. Also, any residents evacuating the area will have access to it, and it is constructed to a level that it is there like semi-permanently. It's not a permanent asphalt paved road, but it's there and it can withstand the traffic that's needed to go over it in an emergency situation.
Was there a reason we decided to allow that or approve that secondary access to be all-weather, excuse me, instead of a paved road?
Yes, right now, as proposed and developed, it's the all-weather access, because this area here, we just went through a rezone here and rezoned this area to shopping center to make this area more feasible for commercial development. When the commercial development comes in, the access will be behind the commercial development on paved surface permanently. Same way you have access behind, say, Walmart. They have the paved and the loading areas and everything like that, that's open, or behind Fry's. Same. That's what will occur here as that development happens. So that's why I said it's a temporary road. It's permanently, but temporary right now. As the adjacent site develops, then it'll become that permanent access. Signs will be posted there that this no parking and all of that, no standing, no blocking, similar to the other developments that we have in the city.
And my follow-up question on regarding the EV charging stations. I noticed they mentioned they're going to set aside 10% to cover whoever has an EV vehicle there. Was there any consideration given for future growth, if more people buy additional EVs? How is that going to be handled? Do we have enough resources or a way to add additional EV charging stations?
I can answer that in part, and then I'll defer to the development team. Under the PAD, they were charged with providing a certain amount of the EV parking spaces, and then the remaining being what we call pre-wired. It's rather expensive to actually put the chargers in if they're not being used, but what they do, the conduit is laid down, ready for the electrical wiring to go through the piping, the conduit there, and then put in the new charging stations. Depending on the demand that's going to be from the residents there, they'll install the charging stations to get up to that 10%. With these charging stations, it's almost like your iPhone. Every year, there's a new generation. They're more powerful. They charge more. One from 5 or 10 years ago is somewhat of a trickle charge for what the demand on a battery in a current EV vehicle is. Now, beyond the 10%, I'll defer to the development team with what they have in mind for satisfying those needs should they come around.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So follow-up question.
For the record, Alan Bodwin with Norris Design, 901 East Madison Street in Phoenix. Chairman, Commissioner, yes, we have thought a lot about the EV situation on the site. We are doing double the city standard, which is 5%. We're doing 10%. And to a great extent, we've thought beyond that. We're doing something that's called EV Ready, and so we are thinking through the electrical charge and how it needs to be extended to the parking areas. And so there will be some extensions of conduit and that sort of thing to prepare for expansion as conditions might change related to the number of ownership of electric vehicles.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, as I read it in the packet, 10% of the spaces were going to be electric capable and 2% would be installed and 8% would be readied.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. 2% at construction. The remaining 8% of that 10% is pre-wired. And as Alan just said, they have future that when they go to construction and do their construction documents, will have actually extensions for even more in the future, should the need arise.
Are there any other questions or concerns for either staff or the applicant?
One more question.
I'm sorry, I think Vice Chair Robertson.
Thank you for the presentation, Derek. Back to the all-weather road, where does that empty out onto once it goes under the overpass?
Once it goes under the overpass, and I know it's difficult for the commission to see, there is public right-of-way right here. This is called Taps Avenue or Taps Road. This is developed somewhat the same. This is about, right now it's, I think, chip asphalt. There's a level of asphalt that's not in the greatest of conditions, but it is manageable for emergency services.
Okay, so my follow-up question will be, that obviously will impact the businesses and residents at that end of the all-weather road. Were those folks in that area part of the 600-foot notification? Or was that outside of it?
No, they would have been outside. But
it will impact them.
It will. My understanding, the properties right here that would be impacted are aware of the development and the roadway situation. This property here is city-owned. There's future development coming in here, and they are aware of that roadway going through there. Because future development on this part, until the whole thing develops and has all of the punch-outs available, the north side, their emergency will be going through there as well. And let's hope there's no emergency that disrupts their activities.
So the land that it empties out onto, you said some of it is city-owned now?
Yes.
Okay. So that'll remain that way in perpetuity, or?
I do not know.
Thank you.
Commissioner Juarez?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. We have no other questions or concerns or whatever? Do I? Motion has been made by Commissioner Hughes that we approve. Do we have a second from Commissioner Lassell? Any Any other discussion? Okay, let's, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Moving along to item 5.2, DRP 23-04. Planning Commission update. Rick Williams, Planning Manager, will present Major Development Review Permit Case number DRP 23-04, Municipal Court Building, a request by the City of Maricopa for review of site, landscape, and elevations for a new municipal court building for the City of Maricopa within Pinell County, parcel number 520-03-012M, generally located east of the northeast corner of West Bolin Road and North White and Parker Road, and this is discussion only.
Chairman Yocum, Commissioners, thank you very much for that. I'm happy to be presenting the first informational site plan to you all this evening. Based on the changes that we had, recently made in the zoning ordinance and our process all itself. And so being that it's the first one, I thought I would just preface the discussion regarding these next two items just a little bit. I think it's important that as we move forward with these two objects and as we move forward with DRPs in the future here, it's important to understand exactly where our parameters are, because we're taking a look at these site plans in a much different realm than we were, well, just a case before this. So as we get into these discussions, and especially with respect to municipal buildings, future parks, we keep in mind how we frame that discussion, and with any project moving forward. And the parameters of that are the zoning ordinance. We may have personal opinions about certain aspects of developments that we see, especially parks, but it's important that we're not here to talk about amenities or other aspects of it. We're here to talk about how it meets the requirements that are outlined in Section 18 of the zoning ordinance. And I think it'll be important to keep that parameter as we move on and get into deeper and deeper site plans as we go through it. I'm excited about tonight. It's a learning experience for us, and so to bring the first one to you and have this open discussion, I've been looking forward to this all day today. So without having to say more, I'm just going to go right into it, and we'll, to some degree, figure this out as we go. Okay? As he stated, this is the municipal court building presentation. This is DRP 2304. This is a discussion item only. And I would start out with just a little bit of site information for you here. As noted, the city of Maricopa is the applicant this evening. We're located just behind City Hall. If I could direct your attention to the exhibit on the right up there. I can see that my subject T needs to move up a little bit, but essentially outlined in red is where the future municipal court building is going to go. You can see the future park site to the east there, which is the second item of discussion this evening. And I also noted in blue there the new police building. I missed the G as well. I apologize for that, y'all. What we're here to talk about tonight are essentially a review of the site, the landscaping, and the elevation plans for the proposed building. Now, we're very fortunate in this evening that we have Denise Orr with us. Denise has been leading the design review team. She knows the site inside and out, so I thought better than me just getting up here and rehashing what essentially she's given us already, I would have Denise come up and explain the site to you as well. So without further ado, it's my privilege to introduce Denise, and she'll take you through the site. Just push the green button to...
Thanks, Rich. Good evening, Commission. My name is Denise Orr from DFDG Architecture. I'm going to present the site landscape and elevations of your new municipal court building. Which one was the pointer?
Pardon me?
Which one was the pointer?
Which one?
This one? Oh. All right. So we are currently in this building here, the City Hall building. And we're just an extension of your city services to the east. We have the South Plaza Drive here and the West Civic Center Plaza north here. Our building sits and runs basically east-west. Our main entrance is situated here. So as you enter along, you can access the site between the South Plaza and into the public parking here. And then we also have an access to go out to the South Plaza Drive and exit to the north in that area too. We have also provided employee parking lot in the back. We have 14 spaces. Along the drive, we've accommodated all the landscaping, including an entry sign here, and then shading the parking along here. And we have a site wall, 3-foot site wall. And then in the front of the building is our main entrance here, and we've provided some good trees and a nice little bench seating, which I'll show you in a minute, along the area. We've left this area here as in the future when your court needs to expand. We left this site in order to double the building in size. Based on what we put over here, we did held out different site references from around the city. You have your city hall, you have your existing police station, your new police station, the Copper Sky park development. These are all contextual and give you an idea of kind of the material and landscaping that we're going to be providing in our project as well. Here is a front elevation of the courthouse. Again, we have a grand entry with the metal canopy roof, similar to we have here on City Hall, as well as the library and also the police station. We've incorporated the rust color panels. They're not Core 10. It's a new product that's actually a painted product that will last a little bit longer and not put rust down on the pavement. We've provided the main entry signage here. As you approach along the South Drive, you'll see the sign and address here. This courthouse, we just have one primary court building with a clerk station inside, as well as supporting admin offices and jury room. And again, this is kind of the landscaping and texture that we're going to provide on the building. And let's see, the building is primarily CMU block. We've went ahead and chose a bunch of different colors and textures to articulate some patterning, and then provided natural light in both the courtroom as well as the entrance and lobby. And this is a detail of the planting plaza in front of the entrance of the courtroom. Some seating benches, and then this is the main doors right here into the secure lobby. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. So I've just noted a couple of items or a couple of areas where the proposed project is in conforming with the zoning ordinance, the overall design of the project. It's appropriate to the function of the site, the environment for the occupants, the visitors, the general community. The elevations and color combinations are well integrated. They're consistent with the building that we're sitting in now, as well as the new PD and library as well. And the proposal at this point, although still a work in progress, clearly is meeting all the requirements outlined in Section 18 with respect to setback requirements, building heights, architectural design with the multitude of colors, the variations in the facade and the roof lines. That meets all the intent that's outlined there. We've had some public outreach with this. March 23rd, we sent out the notification letters. I think we went to 600 feet on this one. We posted the site. We've noted this on all our meeting websites, on the city website as well. And as of this meeting tonight, we've had no public correspondence received, either written or email or verbal. That pretty much concludes our presentation. Denise and I are available. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I'm not sure whether there's anyone from the public to speak on this tonight.
Any questions, concerns?
Got a couple of questions.
Yes.
Once again, thank you for the presentation to both of you. My first question has to do with the LEED and green ratings. Was there a reason that we decided to go away from attaining that certification? Is there any benefit to going without getting a LEED certification or green certification?
Pardon me? Go ahead.
I guess my response would be it wasn't the direction that we were given, but it could certainly accommodate that if it needed.
Yeah, just the question I had is just, when we take a direction, I'd like to know why we're taking a certain direction. Was it economics? Was it anything else that gave us the indication let's stay away from the green stuff, it's going to cost too much, it's not cost efficient, it may pose other requirements on us as far as code and stuff like that?
Right. I would, Chairman, Commissioners, again, I think good questions. No question about it, Commissioner, and I think that that's something certainly that we can raise. Those discussions were had, that direction was given long before we started this project. And again, as fascinating as that is, our ordinance certainly doesn't require that it be LEED certified. So to a certain degree, we're having a conversation that really doesn't fit in the box.
Thank you, Commissioner Juarez. Any other comments, concerns? Vice Chair?
Rick, I noticed on the elevation that the building said Maricopa Municipal Court. We've had an identity problem in Maricopa recently, in the last decade or so, and we put the city of Maricopa on everything. I would recommend that also for this building.
That's a good observation.
Anything further? Yes. Mr. LaFall?
Thank you. I want to say thank you guys for being proactive in the expansion of the buildings, because so many times there are situations where there's no more space for growth. So I appreciate you guys including the expansion in the design. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's refreshing to see that the city of Maricopa is putting on their big boy pants. We're getting our own courtroom.
Well, I appreciate that. As I'm sitting here thinking about the whole context of tonight, we've come to you on several different rezones and general plan amendments, and we've talked about village cores and how we create that and how it expands and how it really comes to life. So when you think about this neat little area here, you've got the municipal court, the park, police department, multifamily, single-family residential, commercial across the side. So we're starting to see that vision, come to fruition, and this is an integral part of it, because you're absolutely right, sir. It helps the city of Maricopa identify. We have our own municipal court now, and that's important as we move forward in establishing our identity and just really embedding those roots firmly, in the community.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, we'll move along.
Anybody from the public here to speak on this tonight?
Okay. Let's move along to the next agenda item, 5.3, DRP 23-02. Planning Commission update. Derek Schierner, Planner 2, will present major development review permit case number DRP 23-02, Civic Center Park, a request by the City of Maricopa for review of site, landscape, rendering, and elevations and photometric plans for a proposed city park on approximately 55 acres of land within Pinell County parcel number 502-03-012M within the City of Maricopa, generally located east of the northeast corner of West Boland Road and North Whiten Parker Road, and this is discussion only.
Thank you, Chairman Yocum, members of the Commission. Like the previous item, this is for informational report to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the DRP 23-02 Civic Center Park. Civic Center Park is located. It looks like I have an issue with this subject T as well. I think it's a formatting when we put it up on the big screen. My apologies. So the city is proposing to develop a new civic park located behind City Hall. It's east end of the northeast corner of West Boland and North Whiten Parker. As I mentioned, it is approximately 55 acres. We're going to review, and in the commissioner's packet is the site plan, landscape plan, photometric, and the elevation plans for the community park. The development of this park is in reaction to the future development at Copper Sky, as presented before this commission and the council previously on a couple of other cases. There's been approved plans for certain development at Copper Sky, and where that development is occurring, it will be taking out some of the ball fields, and to replace those ball fields, like for like, the city is proposing to build it right behind City Hall here, creating this very municipal area with the court, the police building, the ball fields. We have the commercial down here. If the commission can remember, we rezoned this, the neighborhood commercial, to create this city center area, this civic center area, part of that whole village center concept that we have in the general plan. This open space park area is a part of that. The proposed Civic Center Park access is going to be off of West Boland Road and an extension of Lococo Street. As proposed, if you can see here, my apologies. We have a already approved multifamily development here just north of City Hall. Then part of that is a development extension of Lococo Street. With the park, Lococo Street will be extended all the way to the edge here. A road is partially constructed right now for the new police building here. That will be extended up and have a little bend here and then come up, so it's not just a straightaway shot, as you can see in the site plan. So the north area of the development is going to consist of 3 softball fields, 1 baseball field, a plaza in the center between the fields at their nexus with a restroom and concession building. Parking and maintenance yard. Maintenance yard is on the very north side at the end of the plaza area. Open turf fields on the east side with multi-use paths surrounding. And on the south side, 2 softball fields, a 2.5 acre lake for irrigation for all of the fields and the turf open play area, another plaza with restroom and concession building, and more turf area with multi-use paths. There'll also be a drainage area, and I'll get into discussion on the drainage of the gentleman that spoke at the beginning of the meeting and his concerns about the drainage flowing northward. The proposal is to be approved under this one development review permit. However, this development, the park is going to be phased in development. The north side will be developed first, basically stopping right here at this plaza. So everything north of that line and the lake for the irrigation of the fields on this north side. The second component of it will be development of this south side. As I said, this is a like-for-like replacement of what's being removed from Copper Sky under the development proposals that have been approved over there. The south half may change. If there's any changes later on, that will be presented to this commission as an informational item as well, especially with this existing drainage channel. And if I can just go back, drainage patterns in this area, there are some significant flows, but they're what we call sheet flows. So a sheet flow is when it's raining and you see a parking lot and you see that, quarter-inch water kind of going over the pavement. That's sheet flow. Over the farm fields, there's a lot of sheet flow, and if you can see the size of the area and all the farms, you add that up, and it starts getting to a large volume of water. You can see here the channel, and it spreads out here, but then there's also the channel in front of City Hall and comes up here and comes up North White and Parker right there. That was channelized for the City Hall development and the Civic Center development. This sheet flow here goes up behind City Hall here, comes back around, and then gets rechannelized there. There is the multifamily coming in here, and then the court building and the police building here. So this sheet flow is going to be redirected across over into this area. And if you can remember on the site plan without me flipping over, that's the drainage area there. What will occur is it'll come across here, come back over, channelize here, and then spread over this property here. The city is in agreement with the property owner there to be able to use that as sort of the detention area to rechannelize it up through the North White and Parker Road channel. On the east side of the park, in the open play areas, these are going to be dual purpose areas like we see currently at Copper Sky. If you can picture the ball fields and the soccer fields, they're low. Those are detention basins. So all the flow from the site gets detained there, and then percolates down through the soil or gets absorbed by the landscape organic material. That will occur on all this open turf area. If this, I opted to use the regular site plan rather than a drainage plan to show this will be depressed in here, the water will collect in here, and then disperse, go into the ground. The channelization will come up through here, come back around, and then go on this side. We don't currently have a solid plan of development for this between the multifamily and the proposed roadway here, but it is an open space that is large enough to provide other fields of play, whether soccer or football or flag football, something of that nature. It doesn't have the geometry to be able to do softball or baseball fields, but that's something that's sort of just being thought about and something in the future, because we're always looking towards, we're growing, we need to accommodate, and this is part of it. The city is always constantly, what is the next step? What is the next step? Just like your comment before, we are, Commissioner LaFall, planning ahead, and this park is what that is. The ball fields at Copper Sky are soon to go away, and we're setting this up to relocate them here behind City Hall. Here we have a colored rendition of what the park is going to look like. Again, this north half is going to be initially developed with the lake below. This remaining portion will be developed later as needed and as budget is available. We'll have an elevation of what the restroom and concession stand facility will look like. It's a like for what is at City Park. That's basically what we're just We can't actually pick up everything at City Park and just transport it and plant it back down here. We got to reconstruct it. There are some aspects of it that we will recycle. Hopefully some of the lights, maybe some of the fencing, whatever we can reuse, we're going to reuse here. For conformance with the zoning ordinance, the overall design of the project, it's going to enhance the appearance and features of the project site and the Civic Center area around City Hall. It's an appropriate function of the project, and it's suitable for the environment and the surrounding area. We have a significant amount of future residential development occurring to the west of City Hall, down Bolin. This will help accommodate that and more centrally locate these ball fields off of John Wayne to what is truly the city center here. And that's why we call it Civic Center, City Center, right here where City Hall is. The elevations is very limited with elevations. It's ball fields, it's the dugouts, the backstops, the outside fields. There's not a lot of hard structural vertical development other than the concession stands and some plaza areas in the future. It meets all of the requirements of Section 18 of the zoning ordinance. The site is zoned for a ballpark is permitted. Notification letters were sent out to property owners within 600 feet. The signs were posted on the site along Bolin. There aren't any public right-of-ways on the north side of the site yet, so we did not post there. Planning Commission meeting on April 10th today, and until tonight, staff has not received any communication from the public regarding the proposal. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have about the proposal.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I know this is one of the concerns that a lot of people had with S3 Biotech coming. So I'm glad to see it's a like for like. Even though I know the northern part is going to be first, it came to us as both parts. So the southern part, maybe a softball field and a baseball field, just because now softball fields will outnumber baseball fields here in the city if it is constructed as is. Currently, they'll be even with the 2 baseball fields in Rancho at 4 and 4. But yeah, just something to consider. I know it can change, right, as you mentioned. But yeah, overall, I like that we're moving stuff, I guess, off of John Wayne and to the city center. But yeah, that's it.
Commissioner Yoakum, Commissioner Singleton, correct. Right now, what's being removed from Copper Sky is being replaced on that north half. The bottom half is going to be at the determination of Parks Department. What the demand is, they're well in tune with renting the facilities to all the different clubs and organizations, and as that, they get that demand, they'll more finely tune exactly what they want to put there, so it isn't a waste, it's used.
Any other comments, questions? I just have one comment, and I'm concerned.
Go ahead, I'll go after you.
I really would hope that we are going to be taking the adequate measures to assure effective drainage control as far as spillage of that excess water onto neighboring property. I noticed in the presentation that issue was addressed with about 10 words, and I think it might need more attention than that.
Yes, Chairman Yoakum. As presented and with this new format, bringing this forward, those drainage plans are still under design. Very specific attention for the regional solution for the whole area, and then site-specific solution and how it affects all the neighboring properties. Those are being drawn and written right now. To be able to address this right now on that south side, it's that conceptual. We know the drainage channel is going to be there. It is the actual depth and everything for it. We don't know exactly yet. The consultants are developing those plans. As they come along, then staff will review them, just like every other development review permit. All staff, engineering, planning, building, we review it, and we don't approve it until it meets all of the city requirements that we need.
Well, I'm sure you're going to take those measures. I just wanted to emphasize them. Okay, Commissioner.
Thank you. I appreciate this presentation because it did address the concerns that were brought forth with the approval of the project that's the medical project, or what is it, the medical?
S3 biotech
Yes,
project, yes.
thank you. One thing that I didn't notice, and I'm not sure if it was discussed, was the dog park. So I just wanted to add that for consideration, if it has not already been.
Chairman Yocum, Commissioner LaFalle, yes, the dog park has been considered. There may be portions of this southern portion of the park that have a park, but the dog park is not going to, it's going to be spread amongst the different parks in the city. So it's more closely located to the residential subdivisions rather than consolidated into one giant dog park.
Thank you.
But when it comes to dog parks, I recall reading that there are going to be 3 dog parks established in the city whereby nobody is going to be more than 5 minutes away from one. Is that still true?
Chairman Yocum, I cannot speak to that. I've read articles like that, but I'm not aware internally of that. Those decisions are made with the Parks Department. Once they figure out exactly where they want to locate them, that'll be a DRP that'll come for an informational item in front of this board, this commission.
Thank you, Commissioner LaFalle. Yes? No? Okay. Commissioner James?
Yeah, I think it's great planning, and especially for the community. Anytime with municipal buildings that we plan for some acreage for the community. I applaud you on your planning, and it's a great deal for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Anything else? Nope. If there's no further comment or whatever, no further discussion, then we'll close this issue. And we will move along to the reports from commission and or staff.
Chairman Yocum, commissioners, just want to again thank you for this evening. I think this was a perfect start to our informational process. I think we'll get better from here moving forward. We'll learn from the presentation, and yeah, I think it was just a good first start tonight. I just would like to point out, sir, that we do not have anything on the agenda for the second meeting in April. So we will not be holding a meeting in 2 weeks from tonight. However, we do have an agenda that's filling up for May 8th. So that will be our next regularly scheduled meeting. Chairman Yocum, that concludes my updates. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I see no need for an executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? Second. So moved.